Welcome to Eastgate Support. This is Jacob, and I've released today 3 videos. This will be the 3rd video about the booster board. The first video was my initial thoughts and predictions about the booster board and what I thought might be happening with basically the fact that they sent out an email saying the wait's not that much longer. Within the next day, they were going to be releasing all of the information about the new booster board. So, about 12 minutes ago, I received an email about the booster board, 2nd generation. Now, I've now read this out in a video, and I did a very, very quick video about that, and I'm posting it online to just get people sort of aware that the new booster board's out and what's sort of going on. But this video is a review and not a review of the board itself, because I don't have one. I'll be getting one. I've already reserved one, and I'll also be really pushing to get somebody really good to be distributing it around Australia, because it's really important to have somebody who's not just there to make money. It's sort of about the community as well. Booster board has a really good community. We're looking at communal rides. We're looking at going to events and things like that, and that's what Australia needs, and other countries, New Zealand as well. So that's one of the announcements. They've got their battery certification. They can ship overseas. And that's all in this email that I received and lots of people have received. So I'm going to go through and tell you what I think about it with my many years experience with electric skateboards, building my own, doing a lot of things. So I'm going to sort of touch on everything. The first impression is the design. It's pretty much the same. We've got LED indicators for the battery pack, and that's because I don't know how it works, but the battery is consumer changeable. So basically it says you have the choice of the standard 99 watt hour battery that you can take on planes and things like that, and I'd say that's going to be it's going to be an option system, where I know that when I did my reserve, there's a new 199 watt hour battery which gives you double the range. So I chose that one, but I'd say that there's going to be a second battery that you can buy to have the 99, so you can still commute on aircraft and things like that and take your booster board with you, but have that extended range if you have that long commute to work or plan to do more than just go to work. Keep in mind that's also going to create weight onto the board. They're keeping with the deck, the Vanguard deck. I love it personally. Lots of people don't, but I love the Vanguard. I love all loaded decks. I ride my Dervish every day. So that's my personal view about these things here. The wheels have gone from the 75mm in heat wheels to an 18mm orangatang kegel wheel. Now the orangatang kegel wheels are really nice. I think they're nicer than the 75s, especially when doing commuting in cities and things like that, where the roads aren't particularly good. You have trams and things like that on the road, so you have to go over bumps, footpaths. One of the biggest thing in Australia is every single bus stop, you have these bumps that you have to go over, and the small wheels, sometimes I lose traction at the back when going over them at speed. And riding other electric skateboards like the Raptor, my own hub motors and things like that, the bigger wheels help. So that's going to be an excellent thing, as well as bigger wheels increase speed. Now I'm going to touch on that a bit later, because the speed hasn't increased. It might be an option later, but they have not increased the speed. But it's going to help definitely soak up bumps and smooth rides. The world's best drivetrain now, they're saying their belt system magnifies the torque of the motors by 3 times. So that means, as I've mentioned before, a 1/3 5-gear ratio. So hub motors, you can increase the torque, and my hub motors, I can increase the torque. And when comparing it to a Raptor motor, the torque, it would be like a 2/3 to the Raptor's 3/3 of torque. Now, that's because the Raptor has a gear ratio. It's a 1/2.6 gear ratio, so that's going to help. The booster board is more than that, so that's going to provide a lot better performance. Just standard. That's going to happen anyway. So whether they have increased that gear ratio even more to be like a 1/4 to increase torque even more, I don't know. This is all things that we need to test when we actually get this board in hand. The booster board, they're saying, has fully encased water-resistant electronics and motors, means you can ride in the rain or in wet areas without worrying about damage. They've obviously updated firmware updates, connectivity and things like that, and they've got international shipping. The thing I want to do now is delve deeper. So let's see what they're doing. We jump on their website, their new website. I've already reserved my board for $100, shared my link to receive another $100 off if somebody uses that link to then purchase one, which will be awesome if that happens. I'm not going to post it on my videos. I don't expect you guys to do that for me. The booster board here looks very similar, but if we look over here where my mouse is, the motor caps look different. I don't know exactly why. I would say because they're using a custom truck, they've probably increased the wheelbase, because the thing about the kegels is they're bigger, and lots of people have done modifications to their booster board to allow kegel wheels or other types of wheels, but they have to shave off a bit of the wheel. So they've obviously had to change that cap on the end. Now that cap on the end is really important with the booster board. They've got a decoder inside of it. So lots of boards like Mellow and things like that, Inertian don't have it, but they can have it. They have sensors inside of them to help the motor know where it is. It gives it a 120 degree revolution of or resolution of basically knowing where that motor is in a revolution. A decoder gives it a lot higher resolution. So that cap is important. The way that does it is an external sensor, so they don't have to modify the stator at all. It's all in that cap. But they have modified it. There's air vents there. If anyone else has ever seen the boosted board, or most of you probably have it, there isn't any way for airflow around that belt. Now the belt's probably the biggest thing for heat in these motors. These motors don't get very hot, but the belts would. Now they get hot, they're going to expand a little bit and they can break easier. So if they figured out that if they keep them cool, that's going to stop it breaking. Hopefully that's what they've done, because I know that lots of people have breakages with belts. They might have upgraded the belts anyway to make them a bit better quality. I know that lots of people were buying better quality belts when they did have to upgrade their belts. Now, nobody quote me, and I'll go along this a bit further down, but it looks like their motors might be a little bit bigger in diameter. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a possibility there. Now, battery. We have a choice of 99 watt hours or 199, range of 6 to 7 miles or 12 to 14. Now, I generally get 6 at most on my battery pack. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to get with the larger battery pack, but I'd say it's going to be pretty much around there. It depends how you ride. I pretty much ride on eco mode. I only go up to like maybe 15 miles an hour. When I do go onto the pro mode, it goes downhill with the range. But you can see here the nice truck, their custom truck. It looks similar to a Paris. I like calibers, but I like Paris trucks as well. If they have gone a similar truck to a Paris, it's going to give a lot nicer carving. Now we can see this battery pack really nice here. I personally can't see any way apart from unscrewing the battery pack that battery pack removes. So I don't know how that's going to work, if it is replaceable by us. But removing 6 Allen keys, it looks like they're Allen keys, doesn't look like they're Torx screws anymore, would mean that it is going to be a little bit easier to replace those batteries. Well, it's going to be easy anyway. If it was a clipping system, I don't think they'll go for that because it isn't as strong. And initially when they said we're not going to do removable batteries, it's because they wanted it to be strong. So we scroll down and we get to see a little bit more of the board on the side view. Can't really see it here, but they're talking about the deck. Here is where I want to show you. Now, the world's best electric drivetrain. Our belt drive system magnifies the torque of the motors by 3 times, giving you stronger brakes, faster acceleration, and steep hill climbing than with hub motors. So they're specifying hub motors because there's a lot of people with hub motors out there. So inboard, mellow, myself, but I'm not as big, I'm not mainstream. They're doing hub motors. So that means that they're really fighting against that, saying don't want hub motors, they're not as powerful. Booster board's all about power, and nice power, nice and controlled acceleration and power to make it really nice for the consumer. And that's what it says, giving a better ride with more control. Finally, fully encased water resistant electronics and motor means you can worry less about water. Now, let's come in here and I'll see if I can zoom right into this motor. Now, what we can see right here is they've got a connector. Why do they have a connector? The wire's coming and there is a connector there. Is it going to be the same as Ego's connector, or have they actually done their own? The reason maybe for the connector is so you can take your motors off. What does this mean? I am not skeptical about seeing them having more than one drivetrain, like Evolve have just recently done. But I don't know. Who knows? Is it something that's just simpler in the factory to have everything set out and they just literally plug and play? I don't know. But we're looking at this. Looks like the pulley's changed. Obviously, because the kegel wheels are there. So you don't have screws there. which sort of gives a nicer look on the outside. I know that gunk gets in there and it's harder to clean, so that will be nice. It looks like all of this is the same pretty much, except these motors. I still think these motors are bigger, just a little bit bigger than before. They might be 60 mil, or they might have gone from a 50 to a 55. That's going to increase torque. What happens is, if you need this much torque to go up a hill and you weigh this much and this is what you need, you have a motor with a little bit more torque and a better drivetrain, the amps and the watts that's required to take you up that hill will be less. So that means if they have done that, they might have been able to improve range, or they might be able to do that in the future. If they've got a bigger motor, that means they might be able to get bigger wheels. They might be able to have off-road wheels. Who knows? This is all speculation, but it's a possibility with the booster board. There's not really much else I can go on here. The one thing I'm looking forward to is that extra 5 mil of urethane. It's not much in the whole thing. It's 2.5 mil wheel clearance. Motor clearance from the bottom. So that means you're going to have less rocks smashing against your cogs and your pulleys underneath to maybe have a bit nicer of that anodized look, but we don't know. We've got the remote. It looks the same. I don't see any differences except that button is black instead of grey. The wheel's black instead of grey. This just might be it might just be the photos that they have taken, done a little bit of modifications or something, don't know, but it looks pretty much the same. They did mention an upgraded Bluetooth radio, encrypted connection, greater improved strength. So that means lots of people in California, they're going to be riding through a lot of dead spots. And there are a lot of dead spots around that you just can't use your booster board because your board will cut out. So hopefully that's going to help, guys. Firmware adjustments, that's always been there, but maybe they're going to be releasing more. The one thing that they've added in is a high power accessory port. Paves the way for headlights and other customization options. We can't wait to see what you can do with it. So what are they doing there? Taking it to the consumer to make products, or to other people to make cool headlights or flashing lights underneath or speakers, whatever you want on your booster board. They're going to give it to people and use that auxiliary port to add their accessories. It means that lots more people can sell accessories for the booster board, which is awesome. It's growing the market, making the whole thing bigger. It's all about the community. We go down here to the top speed. The Dual Plus is the fastest, but Dual Plus is still 22 miles an hour, which means that those bigger wheels that are on there, what have they done with that little bit of extra speed? Nothing. They've probably just limited RPM or made the drivetrain gear ratio bigger. So that's basically what's sort of happening there. Everything's still the same. There might be firmware updates to make the board just that little bit faster, but we don't know. Range, we're looking here, standard range, extended range, Dual Plus 12 miles an hour. So that's what you're going to be getting out of it, plus a little bit less because of your riding weight or your riding style. The single, you get the 14, so it's still, that's a little bit more range on it, but it's all the same. The motor drivetrain, it's all the same power systems there. We don't know if they've increased the motor power, but the battery power is still the same. So they're limiting the amp rating and the voltage to only allow 2000 watts. The booster board can go up the same hills that they were saying last time. It's all the same. None of that's really increased, but for me, I found that it can go better than that. So it doesn't matter what they're saying here. They're always going to dull things down for the consumer. Then people can't complain if they can't get up a hill because they weigh 400 kilos. The booster board will climb hills a little bit better than that 25%. And if they have improved the drivetrain or the motors at all, it's going to climb it a little bit better as well. But again, I'm speculating. I'm talking about my thoughts and feelings on this. It looks like the Dual Plus has gone up in weight, and the Dual and the single. So with that extended battery pack, that's what is going to increase that weight. The riding length is the same of the deck. The wheels are bigger, but the trucks are 190mm now. So what I said before about them having longer trucks, I'm reading most of this at the same time I'm making this video. So they did have 180mm trucks before. They've increased to that 10mm. It means they can have those bigger wheels on there, and the caps on the side of those motors aren't touching the wheel, or they don't have to lap the wheel over like the current booster board does. What does that mean for us? It means it's probably going to be easier for them to send us, well, to have options like bigger wheels, off-road wheels, things like that. For me, somebody who loves DIY and like trading their own stuff, I've got a set of wheels and pulleys that would basically match the exact pitch of the booster board. It would increase the gear ratio at a level that would actually still provide around the same speeds, maybe a little bit more, but I've got 5-inch pneumatic wheels. So that means I can go off-road a little bit better and probably still keep similar performance with the torque. Still going to go down, but I'm really excited about that. For me personally, who loves to mod stuff. And then we just go on to guaranteed shipping. US and Canada, we're currently certified to ship to the following countries: Australia, Berlin, Denmark, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, and Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. As we continue to ramp up production, we'll keep the updated on shipping dates for international orders. So basically, we've got heaps more countries. Hopefully, they're not going to take too long to actually get to us. Obviously, they'll probably ship to the US first and then to us, but we'll see. And then you can go down and purchase. And we'll just look here again. You can see there's not so many wires going through this whole thing. So there's one wire going through to the bottom of that booster board, which then I would say is doing that accessory port for the light, a rear light or something. And you probably have one at the front as well. And then you've got these two coming on to the motors. And I don't know why they're different plugs, but we'll soon see. We'll find out. As you can see again, those wheels are protruding out from this cap, which means it would be very easy for me to stick another belt in there and have something to push the belt down and stick a bigger wheel on there. Just like a nice bearing or something, screw it in there, and then the belt would sort of loop up and I'll be able to use some pneumatic wheels. So that's sort of stuff that I'll be able to do and show on my channel, and I've already put it on my current booster board, but because of the way those caps are and everything, I will just have to have these wheels space out a lot more, and it doesn't really work. But with those wider trucks, it would probably be a lot easier. But that's the booster board, guys. It doesn't look like there's much else, nothing that they're sort of hiding behind the scenes and they're not come out with yet, but it's going to be an awesome product, a lot better, a lot of improvements there. I'm definitely buying one. So I've got my Dual Plus. I'm getting one of these as well. I'm going to swap that out for my daily rider. I might use my Dual Plus. I might sell it. I might do something with it. That brings me to the whole thing of selling. Guys, if you want a booster board and don't want to pay $1,500 US for it, and you're happy with the current range, go out there and buy a secondhand one. How many people want that extra range and they are going to sell their boards? So jump on your local Facebook group, jump on Reddit, jump on eBay, Craigslist, Facebook, buy, swap, sells, anything that there are. Get your boards out there if you don't want it anymore. If you want to pay for this one, sell them, do it at a nice price for people, and then people who can't afford them can get their hands on them, and that'll be awesome. But again, thank you very much for watching my videos. Subscribe. I do want to build a bigger community, and it's all about electric skateboards, about electronics, and basically any sort of electric vehicle. And I'm going to continue on. I do a lot of videos, tutorials, and I'm going to keep doing them for as long as everyone watches them. So thank you very much, and subscribe, guys.